I bet you didn't know how dark the heart of Hong Kong could be. Welcome to Crime Chronicles, where we simplify complex stories for everyone. Hello! Let's dive into the story. The Monster Among Us. Henry Chau, a name that sends shivers down the spine. In the bustling city, amidst the ordinary lives, lurked a monster. Henry Chau, a seemingly normal man, harbored dark secrets. His victims, unsuspecting, became part of a gruesome tale. But what led him down this path? Stay tuned as we unravel the chilling events that turned a man into a monster. And let's go! To understand the monster, we must first understand the man. Henry Chau's story is one that begins in the bustling city of Hong Kong, a place where shadows often hide the darkest secrets. Henry Chau's early life was seemingly ordinary, marked by both normalcy and subtle signs of disturbance. He grew up in a typical suburban neighborhood, where the surface appeared calm, but beneath it, there were hints of something unsettling. Born and raised in Hong Kong, Chau was described by some as a quiet, even introverted child. He often played alone, preferring the company of his own thoughts to that of other children. This isolation was the first sign of his growing detachment from the world around him. Some reports suggest a difficult family life, a strained relationship with his father. These tensions at home created an environment of constant stress and conflict, further pushing young Henry into his own world. This tumultuous upbringing may have sown the first seeds of anger and resentment. The storm outside mirrored the storm within, as Henry struggled to make sense of his emotions and the chaos around him. As a young man, Chau developed an obsession with death, a morbid fascination that grew with each passing year. He spent countless hours online, exploring the darkest corners of the internet, where he found a community that shared his macabre interests. He spent hours online, delving into gruesome websites, his mind becoming a breeding ground for violent fantasies. These digital interactions only served to deepen his obsession as he became more and more consumed by the images and stories he encountered. This fascination with death, coupled with a simmering rage, would eventually boil over into something much more sinister. The anger that had been building inside him for years was now a ticking time bomb, ready to explode at any moment. March 2013. A nondescript apartment building in the Tai Kok Tsui district of Hong Kong became the epicenter of a horrifying discovery. The stench, overpowering and putrid, alerted building staff to a possible problem. It was a smell that no one could ignore, a smell that hinted at something far more sinister than a simple maintenance issue. Little did they know, they were about to uncover a scene ripped straight from a nightmare. The kind of nightmare that leaves an indelible mark on the psyche of those who witness it. Inside the apartment, police found the dismembered remains of 2 women. The sight was beyond gruesome, a macabre tableau that defied comprehension. The details, too gruesome to describe in full, sent shockwaves through the city. The sheer brutality of the crime was something that the residents of Hong Kong had never encountered before. The victims, later identified as Chau's parents, had been brutally murdered and their bodies desecrated. The revelation of their identities added another layer of horror to the already shocking crime. But the horror didn't end there. The investigation would soon reveal even more disturbing details. A chilling detail emerged, one that would forever cement Henry Chau's name in the annals of true crime. He had attempted to dispose of his victims' remains by cooking them, mimicking the preparation of BBQ pork, a popular Cantonese dish. This grotesque act of culinary mimicry was not just an attempt to hide his crime, but a twisted reflection of his disturbed mind. The BBQ pork method, a chilling moniker attached to Henry Chau, was more than just a gruesome detail. It spoke to a calculated cruelty, a desire not just to kill, but to utterly dehumanize his victims. Experts believe this act of trying to pass off human remains as food was a twisted attempt to exert ultimate control over his victims, even in death. This method, as horrifying as it was, also served a practical purpose: to mask the smell of decomposition and delay the discovery of his crimes. But the stench of decay, like the truth, has a way of revealing itself. Section 5. A community in fear. The impact of Chau's crimes. News of the BBQ pork murders spread like wildfire through Hong Kong. The city, accustomed to a certain level of safety and order, was gripped by fear and revulsion. The case struck a chord that resonated far beyond the usual true crime fascination. It was a parent's worst nightmare, the horrifying realization that even within the supposed safety of their homes, unspeakable evil could lurk. The case shattered the illusion of security, leaving many questioning the very fabric of their society. Section 6. The investigation. A race against time. The Hong Kong police faced immense pressure to find the perpetrator of this heinous crime. The investigation was sprawling and complex, a race against time to catch a killer who seemed to vanish into thin air. Detectives meticulously combed through the crime scene, collecting every piece of evidence, no matter how small. They interviewed neighbours, piecing together a timeline of events, searching for any clue that could lead them to the killer. Days turned into nights as the pressure mounted. The city held its breath, waiting for answers. Section 7. Captured, the mask slips. As the investigation intensified, the net began to close in on Henry Chau. Security camera footage from the apartment building showed him moving heavy suitcases, presumed to contain his victims' remains. Police also discovered incriminating evidence in Chau's apartment: bloodstains, knives, and disturbing writings that revealed his dark fantasies. Finally, on March 15, 2013, just days after the gruesome discovery, Henry Chau was apprehended by police. The arrest, made in a dramatic confrontation at a public park, brought a sigh of relief to a city on edge. The mask of normalcy had slipped, revealing the monster that had been hiding in plain sight. Section 8. Inside the mind of a killer. Understanding the psychopathology. Following his arrest, psychiatrists and criminologists attempted to delve into the mind of Henry Chau to understand what could drive a person to commit such unspeakable acts. Some experts pointed to potential signs of psychopathy, a personality disorder characterized by a lack of empathy, remorse, and a propensity for violence. Others suggested the possibility of psychosis, a mental state characterized by a disconnection from reality. Chau's obsession with death, his meticulous planning, and his chillingly calm demeanor after the murders painted a picture of a disturbed individual, someone whose grip on reality had long been slipping. Section 9. Justice served. The trial and sentencing. Henry Chau's trial was a media sensation, captivating and horrifying the public in equal measure. The prosecution presented a meticulous case, detailing the gruesome nature of the murders and Chau's chilling lack of remorse. The defense, on the other hand, argued that Chau was suffering from a mental disorder that diminished his responsibility for his actions. In the end, the court found Henry Chau guilty of 2 counts of murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, a punishment that offered little solace to the victims' families and a city still grappling with the enormity of his crimes. Section 10. Reflections. Learning from tragedy. The case of Henry Chau, the BBQ pork killer, stands as a stark reminder of the darkness that can reside in seemingly ordinary individuals. It forced Hong Kong and the world to confront the uncomfortable reality that monsters don't always lurk in shadows, that they can walk among us, hidden in plain sight. The case also ignited discussions about mental health awareness and the need for early intervention. Could Chau's crimes have been prevented if the warning signs had been recognized and addressed? It's a question that continues to haunt those left to grapple with the legacy of his horrific actions. Section 11. Conclusion. A legacy of horror. A plea for vigilance. Years have passed since the BBQ Pork murders shocked Hong Kong. The city has rebuilt, the initial terror fading into a collective memory. But the scars of Henry Chau's crimes remain, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can reside in the human heart. Chau's case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, of recognizing the warning signs of violence and mental instability. It's a plea for empathy, for understanding, and for creating a society where darkness is met with light and where help is offered to those who desperately need it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content.